Good evening, one and all. Welcome to our session of the effective interviewing skills and resume building. So I'm Kavita, and I will be your trainer today over the next 2 hours for today and over the next 4 weeks. So welcome again, one and all. Now, we have gone live on different platforms, social media platforms. So please take a look and ask us questions. We will try monitoring all those questions and try and answer them live. Okay, so let's take a look at the agenda. We're going to be moving into certain skills which you will need to prepare your resume, right? So if you're going to be doing interviews, you will also need to get your resume ready. So we'll take a look at that. And then we look at how do we research the right job? Because an essential part of interviewing is to find the right job, right? You don't just jump into any available job, or pick up anything that's open to you. You research and you apply for it. So we look at that. And then we look at how do we crack that interview? How do you become successful? We have something called the criteria-based interviews, and this is the STAR method. So we will be taking a look at that. And this agenda is basically over the next 4 weeks, right? Criteria-based interviews, we'll be looking at a YouTube video, which shows you what the STAR technique is and how you can use that to your benefit to answering questions in an interview. And then we look at certain pitfalls, what could happen that could stop you from getting that job. So what are the pitfalls? We look at how we can answer the interview questions best. And then a very important part of presenting yourself is the elevator pitch. So what is the elevator pitch and how can we use it to create our own little speech about ourselves? Okay. Now, so what is in store today? How do you face that interview? Now, you've got to remember that preparations for any kind of interview and getting ready for that interview can be hard. You don't even need to remember, right? You go through that. You know how hard it is to get ready for an interview. Now, you may not know what exactly is needed to get that dream job, but preparations is a step in the right directions. So it's important to prepare, and we will look and see at how we can prepare for that interview. So let's go through the process step by step. First one is preparing your resume. Second one is at times there could be a need to brush up your skills, right? You've had your education 3-4 years ago. Those skills are what is required today. So how do you brush up those skills? Or maybe new skills are required. Do you have the time to prepare these new skills? And then researching the suitable job, because that is the key, right? There are so many jobs out there, but what is suitable for me? Which one is that dream job for me, right? And finally, what do we need to do to prepare for that interview? Now, in this picture here, you can see people sitting, waiting for the job interview, right? What have they done? What have they gone through before they sit there? It's quite taxing. It's quite tiring. It's a bit scary. But if you've prepared well, you can deal with anything. So we look at that over the next few days. Now, how do you make a resume? We're moving into resume building. Okay. Now, along with an aptitude and a culture fit. So you've got to have the right aptitude, right? The right skill, the right knowledge for that job, right aptitude. You also need to have a culture fit. Now, when we say culture, a lot of people think that a culture is only something which is abroad. Not necessarily. It could be within India and in a different company, because each company has their own culture fit. So trying to understand that. Do you fit in with that culture? what is the culture like, right? Understanding that. Along with that, you need to have the right attitude and proper preparation to help you get hired. If you don't have the right attitude, nobody's going to pick you, because interviewers look for that right attitude. So, 1, research the company. 2, you need to showcase clarity about why you want to work at that company. So we will go through each of these points in the next slides. I'm just talking you briefly through these points. So how do you research the company? We'll go through that. Now, what is showcasing clarity about why you want to work at that company? Basically, when you go for that interview, you will be asked, why our company? Why do you choose our company? Do you think you will be a good fit for the company? Here are some of the questions that they will ask. So you need to be prepared as to why you want to work with that company. Why do you choose that company over the others? Now, telling them that's the first job that came my way, that's not going to fly, right? Telling them that's because you're a big company, to some extent it might work, but you also need to add on some meat to that answer. And we will look at that. Now, we also use a technique called the SWOT analysis. A lot of you might have used this in your, in your college. You might have learned SWOT analysis in your projects, right? Because we're looking at projects. So you might have used SWOT analysis. So what is SWOT analysis? I'm sure you know, but I will take you through it so you can refresh your learning. And I will teach you something new about the SWOT analysis that you would never have guessed. Okay? Then we will identify your unique selling points or unique selling propositions. So about each one of us, we have something unique in us, right? Now, we have something in us that the person next to us does not have. Now, you will be applying to a job. Just like that, there'll be hundreds of others applying to that same job. But why would the recruiter pick you over the other 100? Right? What is unique about you? So you need to identify that unique selling point about yourself and position yourself well. Okay? Another key bit about resume writing and interview facing is that you need to use live examples. Have examples of every job, every project, every small little assignment that you've done in your university and now, and use examples from that. Then list down all your qualifications, your experiences, and your skills. Sometimes we tend to forget what we have, right? And then start preparing your resume. Now here I have an example. I will also be having other such examples. I have 3 other examples of a resume. What you can do is you can take pictures of the resume. So this is just a small example. Now, here is one page of your resume. Remember, your resume only needs to be 1 page. Nobody has the time to look at 2 pages, 3 pages, more than 1 page, right? So to get the interviewer's attention, produce that 1-page resume. So this 1 page, the person's name is at the top, their picture is here, and their title, right? This person is a graphic designer. They've got their phone number on the left, email, website, etc. And they've got their skills. You see, they've got a small little, like a bar here that shows the extent to which their skills are in what HTML, WordPress, etc. They've got how many languages do they know, and they've got again a small bar which mentions how much of skill they have, and references. Now every company will ask for references, right? So it's better to put it on your resume. Put it down, and then here you write a little bit about yourself. And this is your elevator pitch. We will talk about it later in the weeks. So we will show you how you can write a little bit about yourself here. Write a small little introduction about yourself and your skills, and then go into your experiences. Now, each experience should be listed like this with just 1 or 2 lines under it. The name of the experience, the company, and the date. Right? Work experience if you have it. If you don't, then you need to write your experiences as per your projects, etc. that you've done. So take out your phones and click a picture of this, because I will give you 3 more examples like this. You need to follow what fits your skills the best. Okay? Let's move on. Okay, so SWOT, and this is what I spoke to you about. Now let's look at what SWOT is. Right? I'm sure you guys know. Any guesses as to what is SWOT? Please put it down on the social media that you're on. Right? Any questions? Any ideas as to what is SWOT? So good evening again, once again to you all, because I just noticed a few people saying good evening. Guys, can you put down what you think is SWOT? Please put it down. Again, once again to you all, because I just noticed a few people saying good evening. Just put down what you think is SWOT. No idea? Okay. I can see some people saying no idea here. Okay. So I'm going to just show you guys. I think that'll be better. So what does the S stand for? Stands for strength. Okay. W, your weakness. So you're going to use SWOT analysis on yourself to find out first your strengths and next your weakness. So your strengths, which is the S, and then your weakness, which is the W. Now, the reason why we need to do this, right? A lot of people think, okay, I've got my strengths and only talk about my strengths. Brilliant. Great that you want to talk about your strengths. But you also need to know your weakness. Now, there are some very smart recruiters that will ask you in the interview, right? What do you think are your weaknesses? Now, there are some people who don't know their weakness. You do need to know that. It's required. If they ask you, you should know it. If they don't ask you, also you should know it, because then once you identify your weakness, you can then work on it to make it your strengths. Right? So identify your strengths and your weakness. Okay. Once you've done that, what do we need to do? We look at opportunities. So O stands for opportunities. What does that mean? And so opportunities basically looks at what are the opportunities, job opportunities you see out there. Some people tell you there are lots of jobs out there. But what is it that's a right fit for me? Right? I don't want just any job out there. I could get a job as a cook. Yeah, but that's not my skill. I'm a lousy cook, for example. So what are the opportunities I can see that will match up to my skill? Opportunities. Then T is threats. What are we going to do with the threats? You need to then see what are the threats that are out there that certain companies pose for you. For example, when you're looking for opportunities, you look at different companies. You then research each company. Okay, what is the kind of job? What does the job talk about? What does the company do? Right? What is the main function of that company? You have to do this research, guys, before you go for the interview, so that when you talk at the interview, you are more knowledgeable. Be prepared. So I was doing an interview a few days ago and I asked the candidate, What do you know about the company? Candidate had no idea about the company. Now, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a candidate who's interested in the company. I'm also looking for a candidate who understands what's required in the company. That's how I know that candidate is the best fit, right? So find out the opportunities, research the company, and then find out what threats the company can pose to you, for example. And I'll share that shortly with you. That could be, what is the business that the company does? What are the kinds of third-party interactions they have? What are the kinds of threats they can pose to you after you join the company? What are the learning opportunities in their company? How much can you grow in that company? Can you grow at all? That's a threat, right? So you need to first start by looking at your strengths, make a list, write SWOT on a piece of paper. Strengths, what are your strengths? List them down. What are your weaknesses? List them down. What are the opportunities you see? List them down. Then go to each one and write down the possible threats you see, right? What could also be a threat is, suppose you don't get a job in the next six months. Is that a threat to you? Is that a threat to your existence? That will also be written down. What threats do you see? Okay, to find out all about the company you are applying to. Now, there are some companies, and COVID has brought this on us. A lot of people have lost their jobs, right, overnight. Some companies have just folded up and gone, disappeared overnight. Some of them have not even paid their employees. Now, why does that happen? For several reasons. But if you've done your homework and found out about that company, seen if it's a public listed company, seen there are opportunities in that company, you would then know if tomorrow that company is going to fold up and go, or it's going to be there, right? Find out all about the company you're applying to. Cool? Any questions? Very good. Shubham also put down strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Very good. Guys, and you've got to remember, this is not about the process and this is not about your projects. This is about yourself. You have to use SWOT on yourself. Okay? Okay, I'm going to move on. Now, we're going to look at how we can prepare our resume. Okay? So, writing your resume. Now, let's look at certain words that we have here. Led, I've led a team, handled a process, managed a team of 10 trainers. I was responsible for hiring people, training people. How many times have we used these words in our resume? Most resume bullet points start with these words, right? It's there in my resume. I'm sure it's in yours. Now, these words, these are the same tired old words. Hey, here, hiring managers have to hear over and over again, right? They have to hear this over and over again. So, can you imagine if each one of us uses these words, how many times is the hiring manager going to hear these words? Many times, right? Countless times. So much that to the point that they have lost a lot of their meaning. These words have no meaning. They don't do much to showcase a candidate's accomplishments. I've led a team, I've handled a process, I've managed 10 teams, I've been responsible for. They don't do much to showcase your accomplishments. So what can you do? Now, I'm going to show you a set of words. So take out your phones and click pictures of those words. I want you to start using those new words in your resume. Cool? Using the right words. Now, you've led a project, right? Let's look at different words. Now, what does that mean? That means you were in charge of a project or an initiative from start to finish, right? You've done this. You've led a project. But instead of led, what words can we use? Look at these words here. I have controlled a project from start to finish. I have chaired a project. I've headed a project from A to Z. I have orchestrated. I oversaw, I produced, I operated, I have organized a training across different sites. I then planned to run it among external parties. I programmed virtual classes, Beautiful words. Start using them. Now, instead of just, you don't need to use just one, you can use more than one also. There's no restriction. Take a picture of this. Okay, let's move on. Now, you envisioned and brought to life a project. So, for example, what it says is that you've started you've actually developed, created, or introduced a project into your company. Okay, if some of you have done that, these are the words for you. I administered a project. I charted. Charted is drawing up. I charted a project right from scratch. I engineered a project. Beautiful word. I launched. I spearheaded. I developed. I established. I implemented a project from scratch. I then introduced the project to my team of 100 people. I pioneered this project. That's also a beautiful word. So if you started it from scratch, that means no one else has done it, right? So you can say pioneered. Now, if you don't know the meaning of some words, guys, you can ask, or you can Google search them later. Yeah. But learn how to use the right words in your resume. Okay. I'm going to move on. Cool. Everyone's taken a picture of it. Okay. Using some more words. Now, you saved the company time or money. Now, guys, I'm saying company, but it could also be in your university. You've brought about some changes. You've suggested some projects which can save the college some money, right? For example, those vouchers, Sodexo vouchers, that saves, Sodexo vouchers are given as gifts, as prizes. That saves people money, isn't it? They can just use that to buy their food. So for example, if you've introduced, hiring managers love candidates who have helped a team operate efficiently, right? More efficiently or cost effectively. So show them how much you saved. So you can use words such as, I conserved my university's money. I decreased the spending from 1 lakh down to 50,000, for example. I diagnosed the problem and I saved the company some money. I saved my university. I yielded, I consolidated the funds that they were spending. And I came up with a plan which lessened the spending or reduced. I deducted. Cool. Okay. Or if you've increased efficiency, if you're working in sales, revenue, or you've done a project in customer satisfaction, right? If you can show that your work boosted the company's numbers, you're bound to impress. Okay. Now, guys, don't get worried if you don't have these skills. I'm going through a set of about 4 to 5 slides, which tell you different words and different scenarios. In those scenarios, use these words. Yeah, you don't have to use all of them. Okay. Now, in case you have worked on boosting the company's numbers, you can talk about accelerating, achieving, boosted, expanded. I generated income as a sales agent. I capitalized, I enhanced the company's efficiency. I maximized, I improved. Yeah. Change your resume, use new words. take pictures now and then ask questions as we're going. Okay. Okay. Now, you changed or improved something. Now, this is something quite common, right? Now, this is an example. Yeah. So you brought your department's invoicing system out of the storage. It's just a joke. And onto the web. So talk about the amazing changes you made at college or office. I centralized, I merged, I refined, I modified, I standardized, I restructured, simplified, I upgraded, I transformed the department's invoicing system into a new age process, which is now all digital. Right? I'm sure a lot of you do digital things, digital projects, right? Use these terms. Now, if you've managed a team, right, it could be managed a team in a game. It could be managed a team in office. It could be managed a team, a debate team, right? Led a team or managed employees. You can show them what an inspirational leader you were. So I was directed to manage a team of students. I guided them. I inspired them to learn about the process, cultivated new habits in them. I enabled them to then and motivated them to then put into practice what they had learned. Mentored is a great word. Mentored means you were able to coach them and change their behavior. It's a wonderful word. It's like a mentor, right? So take a picture of these words again. If you don't understand some words, either ask me in chat. Rachna, if you can see the chat, let me know what their questions are. Okay, so what's this? Ashwini is saying you wanted to show before the slide. You want to see the slide before this? Divya, yes, we're going for all of these words can be used even if you're a fresher, right? Think about the projects you've done. Think about some changes you've made, right? And start using these words. Now, I again repeat, your resume should not have more than 1 or 2 lines per job or per task, right? So you just have 1 line or 2 lines. In that 1 line, you use this word there. I aligned the team's HR duties, for example, right? I aligned the team's way of playing chess, or I organized the chess playing teams, for example. Okay. Ashwini, you want to see the previous slide? Yeah, you're saying yes. Okay. So guys, if you finish taking this picture, I'll go back to the previous slide. Take a picture of this. Saving money or time, increasing efficiency or customer satisfaction. Some examples. Yeah. Okay. This is okay. Okay. Moving on then. So this you've already taken. This you've understood. Any questions, please ask me. Okay. So now if you've brought in some partners or funding or resources, like for example, if you've done some part-time jobs in your university and you've used the help of someone else, a friend from outside the university, that means you brought in resources. Yeah. Were you responsible for a great new partner, a sponsor, or a source of funding? You can say, I acquired, I forged a new relationship. I negotiated. You may not have done that, but you can still use these words, right? If you have brought a partner in, learn to use these big words to impress. I negotiated a partnership. I secured a deal for my university. For a fresher, also you can use that. Now, you supported the customers. How? Manning the phones, answering questions. Basically, it just means that you're advising the customers. You don't have to say, I picked up the phone and I answered the customer. You can say, I'm advising the customer. I'm meeting their needs. I advised. I advocated change. I coached and resolved a complaint. I educated the customer. I resolved the customer problem. Right? Any questions? You're welcome. Welcome, Ashwini. Guys, any questions? Okay. Please don't think it's not applicable to you. Please take these pictures. Once you start writing the resume, you'll know where to use them. Okay. Now, in your university, you do research, correct? Research analysis, fact finding. What can you do? I analyzed, I assessed, I calculated, I evaluated, I investigated, I quantified. Lovely word, right? Quantified. I quantified the needs of my university. I forecasted the planning for the next financial year. I interpreted the needs of the customer and then forecasted the planning for the next year, right? I then mapped the forecast for next year onto a mind map. For example, I've used 3 words, right? Now, if you are writing or speaking or communicating in some ways, you can expand, you can use certain words such as I authored, I campaigned, I documented. Like, for example, you've got a bit of work and there is nowhere there is any, no documentation of it. So you've actually written it all down on Word or Excel or PowerPoint or whatever. You use the word documented. I documented. You were the first person to document. You illustrated. You promoted. You lobbied. You defined. You persuaded. You publicized. Right? If you're publicizing some of your illustrations, making them public, you can say I publicized. Critiqued. Now, if I'm reviewed, like for example, I'm been given a job to check every email that goes out externally by the entire team. So when I'm sitting and checking that, what am I doing? I'm actually critiquing. I've critiqued daily communication that goes out to the external party, ensuring or promoting or advocating good communications that go out every time, right? That's how your resume should be. Okay. Any questions on this? No? Moving on then. Now, if you have regulated some process or you have overseen process, as in managed it, managed someone doing the work, you enforced protocol or managed your department's requests, and describe what you did with these words. I authorized, I delegated tasks to my team, I inspected, I monitored, I ensured, I screened the third party so that they could join my organization. I verified the records of the party. for my organization? Right? You have looked, you've overseen the process. Yeah, you are the third eye or the checking party. Now, if you've achieved something, so it's like you've hit your goals. Now, this is something that everybody's done, right? Some point in time in your career, you achieve your goals. You've completed a project or you've won an award. It doesn't, you don't have to do all three. One, either you hit your goals or you've completed a project or you won an award. Then you can use words like this. I attained a gold medal in my department. I outperformed my team and hit my goals every time. I showcased the success of my project. I succeeded in the goals that were given to me at the start of the year. Right? Guys, please do note that I'm showing you different words. So please take pictures. Cool? Okay. Any questions before we go on to our resume? Questions, guys? Please put it up in the chat. Okay. So then, if you have no questions, we are moving on to resume building. How do you build your resume? Either you use a resume builder app, correct? There are so many apps out there. Now, the point is, there are some which are paid and some which are free. If you got the money, you go for a paid resume app, builder app. Otherwise, go for free ones. But what you can also do is build one yourself, right? And that's what this training is about, right? Building one yourself. You can then, so firstly, follow the examples which are given, and then you can double check on that free app, right? Now, this is the first example. I just showed you one simple one in the previous slide. I'm going to show you another one here. Now, this example, again, one page, all the skills on one page. Remember, it should be only one page. Name of the person is on the left now, slightly different from the first one. Their title, DevOps engineer, phone number, email address, and the place where they stay. And the summary is given here. So how many years of experience, what have they done? All in a short, clear format, right? This is the summary. Now, an elevator pitch will teach you how to do exactly that. Then they've put in key skills, technical skills, right? So key skills pertaining to the job. They put down all their key skills. So guys, the trick is you have to have one resume which has all your skills in it. Then when you're researching the job, you will then change your resume to match the job at hand. So the key skills now will be all your key skills that you've gained. Technical skills will be technical to the role, right? Like SQL, etc. Java, for example. Okay. And then right at the bottom are some certifications. So if you have some certifications here, you can put down the list of certifications. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Now, okay. Now, so just hold on. Yeah, I've just got my voice is just playing here. So hold on. Okay. So just hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. So certifications, key skills, technical skills. Now, what you have here is you have a list of your experiences, right? So this person is a DevOps engineer, this is a professional experience, and they've got a list of their experiences. Now they've got so many experiences in one company. So they put the name of the company on top, the year, and they've put the year is here, and they've put the list of roles that they've done in that company. Now, if you are a fresher, then you just write down 1 or 2 of your experiences in your university. If you are a fresher, you should have done some projects, write down the list of the projects, right? So write down the list here. Now, this person has got 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 companies they've worked in, and therefore they've listed down separate job roles that they've done in the company with only one line. Can you see? 1 or 2 lines per job role. Guys, the trick is not to write everything down. You just write the main points using the words that I just showed you, so that piques the interest of the interviewer. And then the interviewer calls you for the interview because they want to know what you've done here, right? That's how you do it. So on the left, summary, key skills, technical skills, certifications. On the right, all your experiences, personal, professional experience, right? 1 or 2 lines of each role that you've done. Cool. You can take a picture of this so that you know, so you can copy this resume. Any questions? I'm putting the question up. Any questions, guys? Please take pictures of the resume. Okay. Okay. So are we okay to move on? Cool. Next resume. Okay. Now this person's name, again on the top, their hand phone, their mobile phone, their or maybe home number and mobile phone, email, and their website. This is on top, right? The other one was to the side. Profile, again, right down here. Profile is the same short description of yourself and your skills, elevator pitch. Then here he's got his social media handles because he needs it for the job. You don't need to put it. In case you want people to see your social media, then you put it. And references right on the left. On the right, he's got his experiences and education and then expertise. This is a great one, guys. You all can follow it. Write down the experience that you have. So experience, by experience, when I say is, I'm thinking in my head, you're a fresh graduate. So why should I hire you? What skill do you have that I need, right? That's an experience. So write that experience down. What have you done with your skill? I am a fresh graduate. I have worked on this skill. My skill was C++, for example. What did you do with that skill? Did you do a project? Then write that project down. That's your experience, right? So software engineer, for example, or web designer, this age, from this year to this year. And bullet points, don't just put it like this. It should be bullet points, 1 or 2 bullet points. That's it. Please use bullet points. Okay. Then below the experience comes your education. Put in your last known education. So if you're a graduate, put in your graduation and put in your 12th standard, for example. Don't go right back to history, 8th standard, 12th, 9th standard. You don't need all of that. Okay, most recent. And then your expertise. What does expertise mean? Your skills. What are you an expert on? Photoshop, for example, in this case, right? Photoshop creativity. And again, he's got a small graph like this, right? It's very, very, it tells you exactly how much of expertise do they have. 80%, 70% or more, for example. Okay, this is a great one. Freshers, please take a picture of this. You can use this. Take a picture of this. This resume. Okay. Shall I move on? Okay. Cool. I'm going to move on. Okay. Our last example. Now, in this example, you can see his picture. And for each one of them, please note their picture is there on the left-hand side, right? So please put your picture on it. Now, you notice, so this person's name is here and their title, web designer. They've got their details, contact me, phone, email, etc. Their education is on the left, unlike the previous one, which is on the main page, education and here. And then expertise is also on the left, very neatly bullet pointed, all their expertise down here. Then they've got here, they've got their elevator pitch, something personal about themselves. Okay, hi, my name is Kavita. I work for 360. I have completed a C++ learning from NIT. I'm interested in joining a IT firm with my skills. My passions are reading, hiking. For example, short, clear pitch about yourself. Then your work experience. And then at the bottom, you can see is your skills. Again, with this graph, references are here. So 4 different resumes, guys. Pick the one which most suits your skill and start writing your resume. Before that, remember, do your SWOT analysis of your strengths and your weaknesses. Make a list of them. Make a list of all your qualifications, your skills, your educational qualifications, your certifications, and then start writing your resume. Remember, it has to be 1 page only. Any questions? Okay, Ashwini, your question. Yes, Swapnil, you can please do add the photograph to the resume. Please remember that if an interviewer decides to reject you on the basis of your photograph, that's not okay, right? Your photograph in there is supposed to tell the person who you are. So put it down there. Ashwini, if you don't have any experience, you need to write down experience pertaining to the job that you're applying to. Your experience will come from the projects you do, from any assignments you've done in college, etc. That's why I said, spend some time thinking about what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your experiences, what are your skills, and then start writing it down. Yeah, guys, see, you don't have to get worried. As freshers, your experience is less, but you need to get started somewhere, right? Ripin, you can use these even for data science. Now, if you've got an example of a resume, now I showed you something similar to a graphic designer with SQL, right? Here, an Android developer, right? that is something similar to data science. I do not have exact words as data science, but you can use something similar. Because guys, you cannot copy word for word from any resume. I've given you the words, right? I've given you samples of the resume. Now you've got to do some homework. You've got to look at your skills and then put them for data science. What skills do you have for data science? Now, if you're interested in data science and interested in improving your, or joining data science and improving your skills in data science, we have a job description of data science courses from my company, which is 360DigiTMG. And it's up on all social media. So go into it and research. Remember, I told you, you have to research companies. You have to find out the opportunities. So research that. Now, the key bit about resumes, guys, is that you need to put in the words that the companies are looking for. So the company says, I need SQL. You've got to see, do you have the skill for SQL? And then put in those skills pertaining to SQL in your resume. That's how you make it specific to that company. One resume cannot work for different companies. You have to change your resume as per the job requirement. Right? So take a copy of all these resumes, and then based on how many skills you've got, you can decide what to put in. Okay? So we're moving on. Now, what else do you need to do in your resume? Okay? Now you've filled in your resume, you've got your strengths, you've got your weaknesses, you've looked at the job, and you're trying to change your resume as per the job requirements. You have put in skills pertaining to the job requirement, but you've got to check your grammar. There should not be any spelling mistakes. There should not be one full stop somewhere and no full stop elsewhere. Okay? So do a spell check of your resume for spelling mistakes, grammatical errors, etc. If you have made mistakes, how would you know? Sometimes when you have it in Word, your system itself will tell you if there's a mistake. It underlines it in red. Please take the time to make those changes. Do not be in a hurry to submit your resume, because it looks very bad if there are spelling mistakes and grammatical errors. Now, when you start every sentence like I have done, it needs to start with a capital letter, right? This is the capital letter. Do, check, see, start. But do not use caps in mid-sentence. Now, for example, I say start, and every gets a capital E, sentence gets a capital S, W gets a capital W. No, that's incorrect. Only use at the start of a sentence. Now, if you are using a proper noun, as in a name of a person, name of a city, etc., then that should start with the capital letter. Now, for caps is something that you have on your laptop and your keyboard. And that's why I've used a capital C. Right? If I use a small c, you wouldn't know I'm talking about your keyboard here. Okay. Now, check the font size and color, because you've got to make it look professional. Avoid inconsistencies. For example, your body should be either Times New Roman is there, or Calibri. Heading should be Calibri light. Follow these two. You all know what these are, right? These are for the design. This is for the font. Yeah. Now, heading should always be bigger than the body. So if you're putting Calibri 10 or 11 for the body, the heading should be 12 or 14. Now, for example, this example. Now, this is the body, personnel, under the work experience. This is the body, right? Right? this one, this one. All of these should be the same size. It should be either 10 or 11 Calibri or Times New Roman. Now use the same font. If you're using Times New Roman for body, use Times New Roman for heading. It's easier to use Calibri because you have Calibri body, Calibri light, and you have Calibri body and Calibri light for the heading. So it's very easy. So if you're using 10 or 11 for the body, this is the heading: personal, work experience, lead designer. Work experience, personal, contact me, education should be a higher font, expertise, skills, reference. It should be at 14. Lead designer, Bachelor of Arts, phone number, email, master in communication, senior graphic designer should be, if that is 14, should be 12. Please check, do a check on your whole page. That's why resume should be only one page. So you can do a proper check. It should look neat. Now, another way of ensuring that, you don't make these mistakes is you can get somebody to check it. If you are a fresh graduate, make sure you give it to your professor. Professor, can you please check it for me? Give it to a parent. If your parent can read English, give it to your parents. Say, please check. What do you see? And sometimes for a person with a fresh eye looks at it, they'll be able to find mistakes in it more than you can. So get them to check it and then you change it. Get it checked by a friend. Get it checked by another professional. Or once you create a resume, then put it on the resume app, get it checked. Remember one thing, your resume reflects you. If you make mistakes, it shows on you, right? Any questions? Yes, Swapnil, you're saying if we have experience from other domain. So remember, you will have two resumes. One is your main resume, which will have all your skills, all the experience, but should fit in one page. One line each, 1 or 2 lines each for the experience. Then, when you're researching a job, and I will talk through over the next 4 weeks, when you're researching a job, you then need to change or create another resume with skills pertaining to that job. Right? So then you do not mention if you have some other domain experience, because that's not important there. Now, you see, when you submit your resume to a company, they have something like an AI which screens the resumes. That's the first step, right? That will screen, the system will screen your resume. What do they look for? They will screen and they will reject. What are they looking for? They will look at key words. These words should be there reflecting in the job description that you're applying for. That's why you need to do that research. Read about the company, read about the job, and include those words in your resume. So that AI, when it picks, it will find those words in your resume and then send your resume for the next round. Mention those words and a skill pertaining to those words. I will talk you through it when we are talking about how do you go ahead, how do you prepare for the interview using your resume. Okay. Any other questions? Sure. Okay, Peter, you have a manufacturing experience. So you can write it in your resume. Yes, the one main resume. Mechanical engineering. Yes, you can write that in your main resume. You can elaborate in the sense not more than 1 line or 2 lines. Use the words that I showed you earlier. Use that word to explain 1 line, 2 lines. Do not elaborate further. Elaborating will be when they call you for the interview. Right, Naveen? Okay. Peter, are you okay with that? Please put in all your experiences in your main resume. And then when you look at applying for a job, create another resume specific for that job. Naveen, if your resume is going beyond 2 pages, then it's not okay. You cannot elaborate your project. Try and elaborate in that 1 page. Okay. I'm moving on. Any questions, guys? Okay, I'm just going to go back into so I'm just going to go for a quick recap because we have come to an end of our session. So this is all about building your resume. Remember, right aptitude, culture fit, right attitude. This is what we were going to talk about. So researching the company. How do you research? First, you finalize your strengths, your weaknesses. Then look at the opportunities out there. And finally, what threats do you see? To find out all about the company, right? Then you make a list of your resumes and avoid such words: led, handled, managed. Okay? These were the words. You led a project, brought to life a project, saved the company time, increased efficiency. These were the words I said you can use. You owned or changed. You managed a team. These are the words. You brought in partners. You supported the customer. You researched. You communicated. You oversaw or you regulated. You achieved. And then finally, we said your resume. We said, take examples of these resumes and put down the best resume that you can. Now, this one doesn't have a picture, but there are others which have their picture, right? If you've got a lot of skills that you want to put down, like this one, then key skills, technical skills, certifications on the main page, put in all your experiences. You may not have space for a picture. But if you put down your picture, if you don't have too much to put down, then take time, write your name in bold on top, put your picture, put your profile to the side, give your social media handle, put references down there, put your education and expertise. You have to make the best use of the space. Yeah. And this one. It's got everything. Remember, you cannot go more than 1 page. Now, a lot of people think, when they have a lot of experience, they think they can put all their experiences in that, in their resume. So they make it like a booklet, 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages. Now, is there anyone who's going to read through all of it? No, nobody has that time, right? And neither do you. You don't have the time to create 3 or 4 pages. So you have to keep it to 1 page, which is crisp and has all your details on it. Remember, only 1 or 2 lines about each of your experiences. If they want to know more, they will ask you. And that's why you need 2 resumes. The 1 resume keep with you, so you can go on till 2 pages, 3 pages, whatever, put in all your details. Pick from that, put in a resume that you're going to submit to a company. That resume should be specific to that company, should have skills pertaining to the job requirement. And before you send it off, remember about the grammar, the spelling, the punctuation. The size, check the size of each font. Body should be Calibri and heading should be Calibri light. Body should be 10 or 11. If you have two headings, make one size 12, the other make it size 14. All of them should be of that same size, right? So there's uniformity. And then get your resume checked by somebody. Don't give it to a friend if you're a fresher, because your friend will know as much as you do. Give it to a professor. Give it to a colleague if you're working. Give it to a parent. Give it to an aunt or an uncle. Get your resumes checked. What questions do you have for me? Any slide you want me to go back on? Okay. If you have no questions, then we will come to an end of this session. I'm going to give you back some time. The session was supposed to be for 2 hours. We managed to finish it quickly. So thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll see you back again next week, same time on Tuesday at 5 p.m. for another session. Right? You will get to know whether the session is on for 2 hours or 1.5 hours. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.